Hello, hello, hello. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington, and I am so delighted to welcome back Donna Fore. If some of you have missed her, it's because she moved. So she moved from Virginia, but she's still practicing in Virginia, and she's moved to Texas. And we've been working a lot with Texas people. And let me tell you, Goldsboro and North Carolina, you got competition because Texas people pick up the phone. When you call them, they call you right back compared to North Carolinians, which will call you back 3, 4 days after you've called. So just remember that Texas has got a lot of energy, man. So we've got some competition, North Carolina. But first, before I begin, I want to shock you with some facts that I didn't know about. The National Council of Aging says that we have $33 billion with a B, that are benefits that are left where no one has applied for. So all these people who are complaining, and you've been listening to all the politicians that they don't have this and they don't have that. And what are we doing? $30 billion is sitting there and people haven't applied. So this comes to Medicare Part B, which people just forget to apply for, SNAP, and MS Medicare Savings Plan. So while you apply, there are other programs that you're missing out on. And today, we're going to give you the skinny and the inside scoop on what is happening. So I have my keynote speaker, sponsor, and one of our favorite people back on our channel, and that is Colonel Donna Fore. And she is going to lead us and answer our questions about what it is that we need to know. We're also going to talk about some updates. And I actually had a great website, which I will email you at the end of this event, where you can actually go in there, put your zip code in, and find all these programs that you probably didn't know about that you qualify for. And they're free. So I'm going to make sure that all of you get a hold of these. And then Brenda and I were talking earlier about grant writing. And so again, we'll talk a little bit about grant writing as well. So over to you, my first question, and then we're going to go around the room, and everybody, I hope you've got your question ready. So my first question is, what is Social Security?
It was developed in the 1930s when there were a lot of people that didn't have pensions or a way to retire with any kind of dignity or enough income to survive. So the program started out as a way to create income for people in retirement so that they wouldn't struggle. We probably all know grandparents or great-grandparents that, they just kind of lived very simple lives. They didn't have a lot of income coming in from a pension or some kind of a business, right? A lot of them may have worked on farms or had some kind of a small business, didn't create a lot of income for them. So Social Security was meant to fill in that gap for those kind of people. Now, I'll say this much. Social Security helped my grandparents considerably, and my parents, who put in less money than they got out of the system. Does that make sense? They paid into it fewer years than they drew upon the system for in their retirement. Now, for the rest of us, it's going to be an upended solution, right? We're going to pay a lot more years into it and may not enjoy as many years as our, parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, simply because the program is running out of money. So it was, like I said, it was originally designed to provide an income for seniors who at that point didn't have a source of retirement income and might end up working beyond the years they should have, and has evolved into a program where it's a little unsteady, and let me explain why. The government, in its wisdom, sometimes would run out of money for something else it needed to do, whatever that urgent emergency was. So rather than go back to Congress and ask for more money, they would simply take money out of the Social Security fund to fund that other priority. So it became kind of a cash cow for the federal government when they needed emergency funds and didn't think they could get the request through Congress. So unfortunately, it's not as stable financially as it should be. At its present rate of, you see, all the boomers now are collecting their Social Security, to include myself. I'm finally on Social Security. I reached the right age and went ahead and applied for it. I was also getting my husband's, he passed away, and something I'll mention too, if you're in an income situation where you have two people in a couple, both eligible for Social Security, and say one of them passes away, my husband had already been drawing his Social Security, you are eligible for 50% of your spouse's Social Security upon their death, but you have to go and apply for it. It's not automatic. So that's just something to keep in mind. But anyway, going back to the program, because it was used as a cash cow for so many years, it doesn't have the stability to last forever. Sometime in 2033, 2034, 2035, the date keeps shifting because of these other priorities that come up. It will potentially get so unstable that they have to reduce the benefit payments to keep it going. So for people who thought they might make a certain level of income from Social Security, that may be reduced when the program gets a little less cash rich. So that's just a warning to let you know that the program is a little unsteady right now. So
yeah. Well, hopefully this $30 billion, they could reapply it back to the program. I don't know. So we'll find out about it. The next question, I think you answered the two in one, so that's good. So the next question is actually going to be about me. So I'm young. I'm not that young, but I might be coming into the Medicare age in a couple of years. And I wanted to know, when should I start thinking about it? Should I start thinking about it now? Should I wait? What is the process?
So Medicare, so Social Security, they take taxes out of your paycheck every month or week, however you're paid, to take care of Social Security. So you don't have a way to opt out of Social Security, right? So everyone participates in Social Security. Medicare is the same way. Now, when you reach 65, you automatically become eligible for Medicare. Again, like I said, unless you're working. Now, I would start thinking about it about a year out, because you can apply for your Medicare 3 months before your 65th birthday. And if you forget or something happens, you can apply up to 3 months afterwards. You have a 6-month window to apply for your Medicare, 3 before and 3 after. Most people apply during their first month of eligibility, which would be on their birthday. Say, like for myself, my birthday's in September. So on the 1st of September of whatever year I turned 65, I'd first be eligible for Medicare. If you do nothing, the government will automatically enroll you in Medicare. It'll just happen automatically. It's not like you have much of a choice. They just put you into Medicare. I wasn't going to trigger my Medicare because I thought I'll just wait a little bit, but they just went ahead and enrolled me, right? Now, let me explain what Medicare consists of. It's a health insurance plan, right? So one part of Medicare handles hospitalizations. That's what they call Part A, if you've ever heard that referred to before. So if you go in the hospital, for the most part, now there are some disclaimers, Medicare fully takes over. You have very little out of pocket once you're in the hospital. Now, anything before you get into the hospital, I mean, even in the ER and before that, doctor's office, x-rays, anything like that, that's all in what's called your Part B Medicare. So there's two big pieces to Medicare: Part A, hospital; Part B, everything else. Now, the everything else is what usually gets people into trouble. So I already told you that once you're in the hospital, Medicare will pretty much pay for everything up to a certain level. There's some disclaimers in it. When you're on Part B, it's an 80%, 20% proposition. Medicare will pay 80%. You got to pay up the 20%. Now, it doesn't sound so bad, right? 20%, that's not bad. But if you have a lot of medical bills, that 20% can be a significant blow to your budget. So I tell people, when you know you're getting ready to go on Medicare and you already have a significant amount of situations you're dealing with medically, you might want to start saving money, because that 20% that's on you in terms of co-pays and deductibles, you've got to make that up from your own funds. Like, and I'll give you a very easy example. Say you go to a doctor you like, and by the way, almost every doctor takes Medicare. There are a few that don't, but for the most part, almost every doctor takes Medicare. So you go to a doctor and he charges $100, right? Medicare will pay that $80, and then the doctor is going to expect you to pay the 20%. Now, because that 20% can be a blow to a family, or over time can be, there are plans that were designed to help you cover that 20%. And they're called Medicare plans. Some of them are called supplements, some are called Advantage plans. The major difference is, with a supplement, you pay a monthly premium. Say it's a $50, $100, whatever it is. You're paying a premium, right, for your health insurance backup, let's say, to Medicare. But once you're on that supplement, it covers everything that Medicare doesn't cover. Whatever it is, it gets covered. Medicare Advantage works a little bit different. You don't pay a premium, but they have deductibles. So you have to meet that deductible before they take over and pay that bill for you. So for people that are really healthy, then they need to decide, would I rather just pay the premium and I know that everything gets covered, I don't have to sweat it? Or do I just hope that the Medicare Advantage the deductible won't be so high that I won't be constrained because I've got to keep paying out of pocket until the deductibles are reached to the level where the plan kicks in. So that's why a lot of people turn to an agent like myself or others to help give them advice, because it can be a difficult decision. Now, one good thing about Medicare, say you pick an Advantage plan, like open enrollment's going on right now. Say you pick an Advantage plan in December and you have a whole year of it, right? And you go, wow, I really didn't like this Advantage plan. I'm paying a lot of money to the doctor out of pocket. I wasn't ready for this. I didn't save enough money. Guess what? The next year you can change your plan again. So you're not stuck with the same plan forever. You can go in and out of different plans, but you can only do that change once a year. So it's good to know that you're not stuck with it forever and ever and ever. So.
Okay, a lot to absorb. Okay, so Victoria is going to be presenting in a little bit, but Victoria, will give you a few minutes to just quickly introduce yourself and then ask a question, and then Jean and then Brenda, and then we'll bring you all back to do your presentation. So do a quick intro and question.
Sure. Hi, my name is Victoria Murray. I am a licensed clinical social worker and psychotherapist in private practice. I typically work with clients experiencing things like anxiety, and my treatment perspective utilizes a lot of mindfulness-based tools to help deal with issues like overthinking, stress, and overwhelm, and people who are wanting to learn to set healthier boundaries in their lives. And I live in Denver, Colorado, and I see clients located throughout Colorado, New York, and New Jersey. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. I guess the one question that came up for me is, I know you were kind of mentioning timeline for when Social Security would run out. I'm a millennial in my 30s, and, I know a big question for people of my generation is, what is this going to look like for me when I retire in, 30 plus years?
So for a millennial or anyone that's, close to that same age group, I'd say this: you need to save as much money on your own privately, because your Social Security benefits may be reduced by the time you're eligible to trigger them. Oh, somebody's in the waiting room. Let me admit them.
I got them.
Okay. So that's my advice to you. Do your own private funding of your own retirement. Are you self-employed or do you work for somebody else?
Yes, I'm self-employed.
Self-employed. Okay, so you've got to create your own retirement plan and be diligent about it. If you need assistance or something along that line, let me know. But for you, it's going to be privately funded retirement for you. You can hope that Social Security will be there, but your benefit may be reduced by the time you're eligible to trigger it. So that's my advice to you: is be a very good saver and start it early. And do you already have a retirement plan?
Yes, I do.
Good. Okay. Keep contributing to it. And if you need somebody to review it from time to time, I'd be happy to do it. All my services are free. I'm not like some financial, entities where you have to charge a fee every time you talk to them. It's like a lawyer. You see them looking at their watch because they're trying to figure out how much they're going to charge you. But no, I don't work that way. So I don't charge for my services. So, but that's a very good question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
is a good question. Jean?
Okay. My question is, are the Part Bs all different? Like, my husband and I are in relatively good health. We're getting very close to triggering Medicare,
Okay.
but like we take a lot of medications. So
Right.
we don't go to a lot of, like, we don't go to the emergency room. We don't really get sick, but we have, we both have diabetes and things like that. So is the Plan Bs, are there different ones that you have to look at them, or they're all pretty much the same?
So because of those Part B deductibles, there's these things called Part C plans. They're called Medigap plans. That's where the supplements and the Medicare Advantage plans come in. There's three things that Medicare does not cover, by the way. Here's the three things that seniors need the most: drugs, prescription drugs, hearing aids, and vision, right? So most people have to buy plans to take care of those three things. There are some limited instances where they might help you with those things, but they're not going to cover them completely. So you have to budget for the fact that you're going to have to get a dental plan, a vision plan, and a hearing plan. Now, when it comes to these Medigap or Medicare Advantage plans, you're going to need a drug plan, by the way, Jean, because when you go on Medicare, they don't cover that. Correct. So I can help you shop for one, and we'll find you one that's it goes by your zip code and the drugs that you take, right? And luckily, and I can walk you through this even on a Zoom call. If you go to Medicare.gov, it'll help you pick a prescription drug plan. It'll show you the options. You can either do an in-store pharmacy, maybe one close to you, or you can do something via mail order. I do all mine over mail order because I just don't feel like running down to CVS every month to pick up my prescriptions, but everybody's different. But yes, you can customize a drug plan. They can be kind of pricey depending on which one you pick. So that's why I'd say we'll shop together and find you one, because I kind of know which ones are a little more budget friendly. But yeah, once you go on Medicare, you'll need to pick a plan to back up your Part B, right? Because you don't want to pay all those deductibles out of pocket. You want to, or copays. You need to find a plan that'll cover most of that for you. It's good that you don't go to the doctor a lot, because that'll cut down on your expenses with your Part C plans, your Medicare plan, your Medicare Advantage plan, or your Medicare supplement. You might decide to do the supplement because you don't want to have to deal with paying a lot of things out of pocket, right? Medicare Advantage is great. I'm not discouraging people from getting them, because for some people they're the best option, because they're technically they're called free, but the free comes with that one disclaimer: you've got to meet their deductible before they become free. So if you don't mind a little out of pocket and you're pretty healthy, the Medicare Advantage may be the better option for you. So we can look at it all for you. Yeah.
So you're on Discover Brightside, and if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram or through the Brightside magazine that comes out every month, or from our newsletters, make sure you write us a comment, tell us where you're from. And actually, I should have asked all of you, go into the comments and tell us where you're calling in from, and also give us your contact. Now, if you don't want people to bother you on the phone, just give us your website, whatever the contact may be. And if you love people to call you, put your phone number and your email, and that's how you network and make connections. So make sure you all do that in the comment section below. And our website is discoverbrightside.com, where we discover new things and help you empower your life, your family, and your business. So our next speaker is an inventor. And as we've been hearing a lot about made in the USA, and this is a woman that I absolutely admire. And Brenda Rockingham has products second to none. But she's going to do her presentation in a little bit. But before that, I just want her to ask a question and introduce herself. And she's from the great state of Michigan. So over to you, Brenda.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Rockingham, and I don't have a question right now.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll skip you. And here we have our beautiful, beautiful. Now, I have a little story to tell you. So when I actually started my first event in Goldsboro, Zaika and her mother were the two people that came to me with 100% support. And it was the time when I learned about what it means to have the veterans in your field. Because Nicole has, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of people that she knows in Mount Olive and Goldsboro, and Zaika does pets. And I'm terrified of pets, but because of her and many pet lovers that I have known recently, and one of our clients has a bulldog, and we've been doing books about bulldogs, I have become a lover of people who love pets. So she is also, like Brenda, an inventor. a creator. She makes her own dog treats and dog products and shampoos dogs and does this pet grooming. And I never knew about this industry until I met her. And now I'm bumping into a lot of pet groomers and pet people, and so I'm looking forward to spending some time with her. She's in Goldsboro, so we can have more quality time together. So please introduce yourself. I know I've given away a lot of a lot of the speech, but tell us about you and your exciting move here. And I think you're gonna love it. Families here, friends are here,
Yeah,
lots of lovers here. So so welcome.
thank you. My name is Zuleika. Everybody calls me Z, or Zuleika's fine. Um, I am a dog and a cat groomer. I work at a Berkeley Vet Clinic. So I do sedated grooms or regular grooms. I make treats. Um, I kind of do everything in a nutshell when it comes to cats and dogs. I don't have a fur baby myself, so all my clients are my babies. I'm new to the area. I've been here probably a couple of months. I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old. They're with dad at the moment. That's why it's a quiet time for me. But my husband, he is a veteran. Um, and being a spouse and then being a child in the veteran industry, it's just so many different things and different aspects that I've learned and I enjoy about the military lifestyle. A lot of my clients are veterans. At the moment, I'm not doing mobile grooming. I strictly have my clients go to the clinic and they can ask for grooming, and then I will, whatever works for their schedule works for me. But my question, I don't know if it's not more so in the Medicare perspective. It's more so like a disability question, but I don't know if that's allowed to ask.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
Um,
You are allowed to ask. Yes.
so in 2018, I had a mask on my left wrist.
Mhm.
So with grooming, it's very tedious. So I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to slow down in my grooming, but I don't know because I'm only 32. I don't know if I would be eligible to do like early disability like in the next 10 years or so. So my arm, it was supposed to shift 3 years ago, but it hasn't. And I kind of lowered my weight on what I grew, but I guess that's a question like, is disability a thing or is it too early? Because I still like to work, trying to go more in admin, but I still groom as my passion. Um, but that's just a question I have.
So your question actually relates more to Social Security than Medicare. So people who have some debilitating disability where they cannot work or perform their normal task can qualify for SSI, right? Which would be what you would qualify for. There's really no age, limitation on that. It's just based on your level of disability. So,
Okay.
what you should start doing now, if you're still able to do your job, is at least consult with your doctor about what your level of disability currently consists of, get some measurements or evaluations of the limitations you have with performing your normal task. So
Okay.
it's documented. And then once you have that documentation in your medical records, that will serve to help you when you do try and, trigger your SSI. You'll need some history of a doctor evaluating you and showing the level of decline in your ability to perform your work and your routine task around the house.
Okay.
All that will play a factor. So since you have time now, I would start doing that kind of preparation.
Yes.
Even if it means going beyond just your regular doctor and going to an orthopedic. Since you have something that's musculoskeletal, I'd recommend you start seeing, if you're not already seeing an orthopedist regularly, and get some documentation of the level of your decline in your strength in your arm and in your wrist. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So Reginald and Letitia, do you all want to ask a question? Show yourselves, and I'm going to move my computer to Elton. He's going to ask his question. Yeah, no, here we go. Okay, Reginald, ask your question.
Okay. The question that I have for you, Donna, is as a former U.S. Army combat veteran, I've often wondered how veteran specific benefits intersect with Social Security and Medicare. Can you share some insight in terms of the veteran plans that would be available for someone in my position?
Absolutely. So, and I can use myself as an example. So for Social Security, you've been paying into that system while you were in the military, right? So you're going to be eligible for Social Security just like anybody else. So regardless of whether or not you've got your pension coming in or some other source of government support for yourself, you'll still be eligible for Social Security. That will not affect you being eligible or collecting your Social Security, not at all. On the Medicare side, so I'm eligible for Medicare and I have my TRICARE, and I think you're a retiree, so you have TRICARE as well. So here's how that works. So remember I talked about the Part B expenses and how you need to have a supplement to pay all those unexpected fees and extra stuff. Okay. Because we have TRICARE, that becomes our supplement, right? So we don't have to buy a supplement, because if Medicare doesn't cover that 20%, guess what? They push it over to TRICARE and TRICARE picks up the rest. I think I've only had one bill since I went on Medicare a few years back that I actually had to just send it back to TRICARE and say, hey, you should have covered this. This was your 20% to cover. And they said, oh yeah, you're right. There was some kind of mix up. So once you get on Medicare, you should not have another medical bill at all for anything. Now, I also know you use the VA system as well. So between Medicare and TRICARE and the VA system, you'll be in pretty good shape as a veteran. That's one of the few good deals is that. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Makes great sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just so you know, Reg, because I'm not using my slides tonight, we're doing more of a fireside chat. It's very important that people understand when they should trigger their benefits, because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to trigger my Social Security at 62 and a half. That's the first age I can trigger it. The problem with that is you're robbing yourself of some additional income by not waiting another few years, because there's something called the full retirement age, which is called the FRA. You may have heard that term sometimes. Full retirement age means that's the age when you're going to get the most benefit from the system. For all of us right here in this room, except maybe for Elton, because I'm not exactly sure how old Elton is, but for most of it, we'll just say for all of us, it's 67 and a half, which means if you trigger your Social Security too early, right, you're not going to get that full retirement age benefit that most people will gain the most benefit from in terms of, when I say benefit, a paycheck, right? Some people, for economic reasons, have to trigger it early, and I understand that. So if you need to trigger it at the age of 62 and a half, then go ahead and trigger your benefits early. But for most of us, we should wait till we're 67 and a half, and then we'll get the most benefit from the system. So for you, I'd recommend you try and wait till you hit that magic age.
This has been helpful. Yeah, I fully intend to do that. That will definitely be to my benefit to do that. Thank you for answering my question. Much appreciated.
You're welcome, my friend. God bless. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you for your service.
Without revealing my actual age. You would know it if it weren't for my beard and gray hair or whatever. But how many people? I mean, typically I'm doing pretty good. In fact, I was telling a friend of mine earlier today that if it within the last year, I think I've went to the doctor more times than I've gone in the last 20. And now and good health. I've had good health, thank God. I'm knock on wood, and I pray for continued good health. But I'm still working, and I still want to work. And I was telling that same person that, man, I mean, I enjoy work. I enjoy my work, and so at the end of the day, I'm going to keep my shoes on and continue to work for as long as I can. Keeps your mind clear, and it's exciting. So I mean, in that regard, I mean, at what point I enjoy what I do, but say for whatever reason, if I were to have a windfall year, how would that work? I mean, you're on Medicare and that kind of thing, and I don't know if I want to give up Medicare, but I would like to enjoy the windfall year. I mean, a banner year with income. So how does Social Security respond to that?
Well, first of all, you don't give up Medicare. You kind of, when you're on it, you're on it. You don't give it up unless you're, like you said, unless you're working and you have some private insurance you want to use. For the most part, you're going to be on Medicare as soon as you hit
Okay.
65. So we'll just put that aside. You're going to be on it no matter what. Now with Social Security, you bring up a good point. So how do you think Social Security calculates your benefit? So here's what they do. They go back 35 years, right? And they look at the average of your income. So say you had a down year, but then you had a few up years. So they do a pretty long look back to determine your payout, right? And there's all kinds of formulas they use to arrive at the exact amount, but that's what they're doing. They're looking back 35 years of your years. And a lot of those will be high paying years, particularly for some of us in this room, they're still pretty young. You know, you're going to have some good years in there. So it's not like they're just taking last year and going, oh, Donna didn't make much money, so we're not going to give her a very big check. It doesn't work that way. They go back a whole bunch of years. So you'll have good years in there and you'll have bad years in there. So don't worry about that, Elton. They're going to be looking back quite a bit when they calculate your Social Security income. And oh, by the way, after a certain age, you're going to get a Social Security statement every year in the mail. They'll mail it. They won't email it to you. They'll mail it to you, right? So you get a hard copy and it'll tell you exactly how much money you're going to make. Now, if your income's continuing to go up, you'll notice that your benefit every time you get that statement gets a little bit higher. So always keep that statement somewhere in your official papers where you can grab onto it, because at some point, you know, if you're like Elton and Gene and other people, you may want to start to look at that thing and say, yeah, how much did the government tell me I might make if I actually trigger my benefits? It may be a long ways off for some of you, it may not, but it's something to keep a beat on, because at some point you'll want to know, what is that magic number? By the way, the maximum, there are maximum amounts that for Social Security where it's not taxable. I hate to tell you this, folks. I know that someone took money out of your pocket and paid it to Social Security. And you're probably thinking, ooh, that means when I go on Social Security, there's no more taxes. Guess what? There are. They tax you again. So if you make less than $25,000 a year, guess what? As a single person, you pay no taxes on your Social Security check. If you're a couple, it goes up to 34,000. There's a range of 25 to 34,000. No taxes are taken out on your Social Security check. But if you don't meet that threshold, guess what? Uncle Sam is going to rob you again. He's going to take some money out of your Social Security check and pay more taxes. It's really sad. There's the truth.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So any other questions before we close out this segment? Now we're going to do 3 sessions with Donna Fore, and I might be doing 4. We talked about this morning, Donna. So we will have her do her presentation for the Veterans Day event, and then we might do, so then we have November 18th, which is the weekend before Thanksgiving, where she'll do a full-blown presentation. And then we'll do one in December. Now, I initially had the Christmas party open house on the 9th, but I'm going to swap it because she needs to be before December 7th. So we'll work on those dates and I'll fix those dates, but there'll probably be 3 to 4 sessions. So if you don't need it, but you know someone that needs it, please tell them about these events, and so that they can come and get the benefit of it. And if you're watching it online, then you can get the benefit of the video as well. So that would be great. I will make sure that Donna Fore's information is available to you so that you can follow her and connect with her and get the real presentation that caters to you specifically. Because when we do these generalized calls, it's not the same as having a one-on-one virtual conversation with her to get your information up and running. So does anyone have any questions? All right, so it is the Social Security month and Medicare. So it is the time to think about it, and also retirement. Put some money away, get yourself a life insurance plan, start thinking about your 401k, start thinking about saving, because believe me, age catches up. It does. And suddenly you'll feel like, what was I doing all those years when I was working? All right, so you're watching Discover Brightside, where we discover new things, and let us know if you have a question, comment, And please subscribe. Our goal is to get 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So everyone, please go to the YouTube and click on this video and subscribe, and tell your friends, share this video, and we want as many subscriptions, likes, and comments as we possibly can. So thank you for watching.
Claire, Letitia had her hand up.
Okay, Letitia has a hand out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Letitia.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I don't have my camera on tonight. I wasn't going to ask any questions, but Miss Donna brought up a very good point when she spoke about the Social Security will go back 35 years and do a average. So my question is, what if you retire from your job early because you can financially, but you want to defer your Social Security until you actually reach retirement age? Will Social Security penalize you because as you get closer to age, you have years without making any income from your job?
You're not penalized, but it may reflect on your final payout. So say, this is a common issue with women. Say you start your career, you're married for 5, 10, 15 years, and you start having children, and you take a little break from, working full time or, working at a job. Those 5 or 10 years or however long you're at home may look like, you don't have a lot of income coming in. So they don't penalize you. You just don't get as much income because you had some non-working years. So if you want to call that a penalty, I guess it would be, but it's just a way that they're just going to look back those 35 years, whatever's in those 35 years, whether they were high earning years or not. Now, another thing to keep in mind about Social Security is you can't trigger it early. Now, there's one disclaimer to that. When Zalikia was talking about her disability. If you become disabled to the point where you cannot do your regular job, right? And a doctor has described you as being a fully disabled person of some kind, then you can apply for Social Security early, and it's called SSI. So for some people, if they've been injured at work or in a car accident or had some debilitating problem occur, then they can apply for their Social Security a little bit early, and they go on what's called SSI, Social Security income. Did that answer your question, Letitia? I'm not sure it did.
Yes, it did. I was just trying to see if they would actually do the 35 years that you actually work and do the average of that instead, because it's gonna be lower if I retired at 57, but I don't start drawing to 67. So they're gonna count those 10 years that I didn't work, then it's gonna lower what if they have taken the 35 years that I actually worked. So you did answer my question. That is something to actually think about.
By the way, you can sometimes make too much money for Social Security, and let me explain that. So there's a cap for high wage people, and we know there's people out there that make, pretty large incomes, right? So for Social Security, if say your last 35 years you were in that category, even just your last 10 years, you made a pretty high salary, you may end up in that cap where you can't earn the maximum. The maximum is around 4,500. I'll get the exact number, but it's somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month. If you're a high income person, then that's the max you'll ever get from Social Security. Despite whatever your 35 years were, that's all they're going to give you is between $4,000 and $5,000, because there's obviously a lot of people that could, I'm sorry to say this, but really hurt the program if we had to pay out benefits at a really high level to these high income earners. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I get a lot of questions about that. What if I earn too much money? Well, you'll kind of be penalized because they can't pay enormous sums of money to millionaires. So they have to just cap it at, we'll just say $5,000, just give it a round number, but it's between $4,000 and $5,000 a month. So does that make sense? Or did I confuse everybody? Okay.
Well, that's a good question. And actually, Letitia, you won a prize for being on our show last month. It's a candle making book from Canada. So we have to figure out when we can meet so I can give you it just arrived. So I wanted to just add that segment. So pay attention and come and every time you attend our events, you get eligible for a prize. And I mean it, we have really good prizes, which I want to announce in a minute. So we have a sponsor called Mighty Delicious, and they have gluten-free flour, and they have mixes for cookies and all kinds of things. So if you're diabetic or you have problems with flour, this is the company to go, and they will be on my show very soon. And so we will be introducing their products. And then there is stepped coffee, which is just a dip. So if you don't have time to percolate, and you can just take a hot cup of water and dip this beautiful coffee. And their company is called Steeped Coffee. So they are giving you wonderful prizes. And Letitia, congratulations for being our winner for last month. And you will get your prize. Also, we have other prizes that we have coming up, and I have some travel little gimmick prizes as well. These will be drawn on December 9th. And if we're moving the holiday party, I will let you know. But we have an amazing holiday bash. Brenda, Jean, Donna, you all have all been on it. And I have so many prizes that it almost like everyone who attends gets something. So it's worth your while to attend. Now you have to attend to win the prize. If you're not there, sorry, it passes to the next person. But every time you attend from now until December, you will get an entry to try. So the more times you're entered, the more chances you'll win. So please attend every single event so you can win some of these marvelous prizes. And I know we'll be giving you something from Avon and all that. And I will start collecting prizes right away. We will also be honoring our honoree list every year, just because you've attended, just because you are people that we want, just because you pay attention. We give an honoree roll, which is a virtual sticker for your website. You get a certificate, and so it's a grand affair. So please pay attention to the holiday party that's coming up on Zoom. So those are my quick announcements. And for those of you who are watching, don't feel left out. Just write us a comment and we'll enter you to win as well. So we want you to write reviews. We want you to share. We want you to participate. We want you to subscribe. Do all those wonderful things and we will reward you. So thank you for watching Discover Brightside. And we love all the comments that we get. So keep writing to us. And thank you for watching our channel. And I will end this segment, but don't go away because we have this holiday survival guide and presentation coming up along with everyone else's presentation. So stay tuned.